President Biden, you, not uncommitted voters or third-party candidates, are risking a Trump presidency and our democracy by defending the war crimes and agenda of a foreign far-right government. You are ignoring the growing majority of Democratic voters who recognize Israel's war in Gaza as genocide and demand that immediate and permanent ceasefire. Now, I just want to say this is pointed out to me by a high-ranking Democrat, that what's not in here? There's no mention of October 7th. There's no mention of what started this. There's a sort of a passing reference to the hostages, including 6 Americans believed to be held inside Gaza.
And that is one of the, perhaps that puts in stark relief the challenge here, because as you said at the beginning of the broadcast, October 7th was not that long ago, but it has largely fallen out of the immediate conversation that is happening on some of these college campuses and protests. But what this letter is, it's the latest in a series of letters. The last one came in November, I believe. But what's different about this, it's calling for an end to funding for the Israeli military operation, which is not likely to happen given what funding was just passed in Congress. But it's also calling for an immediate ceasefire. But what this speaks to is just the dissent and war within the Democratic progressive left movement here, unlike anything we've seen certainly in this era.
The 7th. I mean, this has been a divide within, and this has exacerbated it in a way that we've never seen.
And then you of course have this happening in the middle of a very intense presidential campaign, and Donald Trump is not just letting this happen in a vacuum. He is engaging. He did so last night. Listen to what he said.
Biden is supposed to be the voice of our country, and it's certainly not much of a voice. It's a voice that nobody's heard. And look, I don't think he's able to do it. I don't think he's got what it takes to do it, but he's got to. He's got to strengthen up, and he's got to be heard.
We've seen this playbook before, even in 2020. I remember when there were protests in Portland as well, outside of that courthouse. We started to see criminal justice protests breaking out. Trump trying to say, look, Biden is overseeing this disorder and chaos. Biden trying to push back on that by showing sort of his police and crime bona fides and law and order bona fides. I think that's what you're probably going to see moving forward. But again, the reason why this is challenging here is, rhetoric only goes so far. And unless you have a legitimate ceasefire, unless you have the president coming out and forcefully, talking about this, unless the reality on the ground changes, I don't know if the pressure will relent.
All right, everybody, come.
Welcome to a special edition of the Nick and CJ Show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
What's poppin'? My friends and family, we had to bring back Nick and CJ for today, bro. We have fascism in our streets hardcore, bro. We had to bring Nick and CJ back. What's poppin'? I had to go live today. I apologize I couldn't do Nick and Night. Like I didn't get back home till like 5:30. I didn't even have a show plan. My plan was to get the speech and then maybe commentate on that and maybe do a segment afterwards. That's why I didn't do a Nick and Night, by the way. But the good news is I actually did get the video of the speech. So that will air tonight for Nick and Night, the live panel I did with Jill Stein. And let me tell you guys something. I'm way better as a public speaker than I am at this. You know what I mean? Like, I actually enjoy and I miss public speaking. I miss giving speeches. A lot of people don't know. That's my roots. That's what I started off doing. I used to give speeches in black barbershops when I was in South Carolina. I used to go and talk to people in public all the time. And this is something I mentioned when I was in Seattle with the worker strike back as well. One thing I really miss, and this is why I flowed the idea. I don't know when we can get or how we can get started. Maybe it'll be a 2030s project, but RB in College tour, because, friends, the amount of people, because it was a public event, like new people were just walking by because oh, Jill Stein's here. The amount of people that was like, hey, man, what's your YouTube channel? We need to subscribe to your channel, man, because it's different when you live, talking live. When I can see people's face, bro, when I drop in these truth bombs and I can see people like, ooh, the reaction is different, bro. And one more thing I know is I passed UCJ. I'll get to the substance as well. I'm just giving
no, for sure.
We'll get back to the segment. Another thing I noticed when I was looking at some of the replay, and I even noticed this during the event, I tend to talk slower when I give speeches versus when I'm streaming live. I guess because I told you guys when I'm live, I'm nervous. But when I'm public speaking, my energy is different. When I show you guys the video today, you guys will see I'm more calm because I'm like, bro, I want you guys to feel every word I say. And I'm like, damn, I definitely need to be back more out in public speaking, man, because that's where I shine, my friend. You guys will see because I'm gonna post a video tonight. I had a great time meeting Stein, the RBN family. We had some people in Kansas that came out. It was great. So that will air later tonight.
So you wore the shirt too. I saw you had it looked like you had the shirt on. I mean, you kind of had your arms in the photo, but it looked like
the RBN shirt. Yeah, you already know how to. You already know how to play the RBN shirt. They won't ask about it too. Like, hey, is that your logo? And I'm like, yeah, bro. Yeah. I'm wearing that shirt. Because I got every color except military green now. I was adding like slowly, like once every month or so. I got every color except military green. You see me. Yeah. You see me in that shirt like maybe 50% of the time without changing colors. You know what I mean? I'm very proud, especially of the work that Aaron and our crew has done getting these shirts up. So I was spotting the RBN there, and I'm proud because I feel like I did a good job representing RBN because there's always, and I'm very open about how like I get butterflies a lot, but I feed off the butterflies. That's what athletes, that's what you're supposed to do. Like I get nervous. When I was invited to Seattle to work a strike back, I was super fucking nervous. Cause I'm like, bro, what if I fuck up and ruin the entire RBN brand for everybody? And I killed it. Same thing with KU. So it was fun. So maybe that'll happen one day. Maybe once we hit that 100,000, maybe 200,000 subscriber range, that's when you might see RBN college stores, friend, because that's honestly why I shine, bro. And obviously the people who will come to a Jill Stein event in the first place, they already kind of there because Jill Stein and the team, they told me that, there's going to be some Green Party people there, but this is a college campus. This is a public event. There could be anyone there. They did a Q&A, and I was like hoping that I would get someone that was upset. Didn't happen because most people were like, oh, man. And I know that after the show, I talked to a lot of these people like, man, who are you? What is your channel? So that was yesterday. I'm gonna show you guys the speech later tonight. So that's why I didn't go live yesterday. Yesterday was a pretty good day. It's always good when you see your RBN family on the ground. You know what I mean? I can't see your guys' faces. I see your guys' dogs and profile pictures, and you know what I mean? But it's different when you get to shake someone's hand. Thank you for watching our channel. You know what I mean? Thank you for being part of this movement. So that's what I live for. And as we get more resources, maybe more of those things going to be happening in the future. But CJ, I just want to talk about what happened yesterday. I'll pass to you, CJ, if you want to respond. I have a lot to say to that intro video as well, but I'll pass it to you because I already got started up. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'll respond to that and then give the intro and then pass it to you. So, yeah, man, the college tour idea. Did you say it on stream last night? Because I remember. I
tweeted it out just because.
I was like, same thing last night. Like, that's a great idea. I mean, I wish we could. Could you imagine if we could do that right now? Like, and
we start fundraising.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying we can do it. I'm saying, could you imagine RBN on the campuses? Like you just went to one. Imagine us on all these campuses. I really think our message wouldn't sound radical to students.
No, the thing is,
it wouldn't sound radical to them.
Sorry, CJ, but I gave them guys all my best hits. One of the panelists, God bless her. I hope you watching. She was one of the people that was. She was one of the panelists. She was talking about how to get young people to vote. That was her question to Jill Stein. She was talking. There was a Sunrise Movement person who seemed more liberal than I did, but he seemed more liberal-minded. Bro, by the time at the end that panel, they all was like, "Where's your YouTube channel?" Like, bro, what you would think is radical. Everyone was nodding along, and guess what, guys? I was the only black guy there. I got into that panel, sat down the panel, see your white faces. Heard the same thing because I didn't change my message. The same thing you hear on RBN all the time, and they like, I seen the fight. I seen their eyes like, oh, I did this whole spiel where I explained Zionism, the history of Zionism. I did this whole spiel talking about how many people was killed in Gaza. I didn't equivocate, bro. I explained exactly how Zionism, the failed ideology. I see a lot of these people for the first time hearing this, like, wow, like, and that's why public speaking is different because there may be new people watching RBN, but we can't see them. Bro, I'm watching these people in the crowd, literally like. Oh, wait, hold up. Like literally watch, and the thing is you can't see it on the video, but I'm watching the crowd like, bro, this message can reach people. Don't get twisted and thinking that radical revolutionary politics is unpopular. Centrist neoliberal ideology makes people skin crawl. It's just the authoritarian nature of this country and this society literally presses those choices on people, which leaves about half of the people not voting. But when presented in a very confident, unapologetic way, because another reason why I think a lot of speakers, they like, I don't know, Zionism, I think Israel. No, there was no equivocation in my voice at all. You're gonna see when I give my speech, there's no hesitancy, there's no, oh, maybe it, no. Direct facts, hard-hitting, no civility politics, and people like it. Guys, people don't like that tepid PMC shit where you like, I don't want to hurt some people feel. No, I told them exactly what the fuck was going on. The same tone. The only thing I did do is I don't curse. Because despite what you guys see on stream, I actually don't curse a lot in public. I just be hanging with my friends, you know what I mean? So I take the curse words away.
I'm the same way, yeah.
Like, guys, when I curse on RBN, I curse only with like friends and family when we're hanging out. And I'm so comfortable on RBN. It's like me being around my friends and family. When I'm in public, when I'm doing professional stuff, I don't curse usually. So it was like a clean but very radical, almost like a sample of what RBN is, because I was able to get a lot of my good hits. My segment with the panel, I don't want to spoil it too much because we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you guys a full video later where you had the Sunrise Movement, they were talking about climate change. You had student activists talking about voting activism. My whole thing was Gaza. They were like, let's bring Nick in and talk about Gaza that we focus on. Then we hit a lot of different issues. So either way, it was point. It was fun, but bro, the ruling class completely fumbled the ball. And as we're going to cover here soon, the only thing they have left is rank authoritarianism. Like, can you imagine if we seen the scenes that we have seen in the last 24 hours in Iran, in China, or in Russia? You'll have a statement by Anthony Blinken. We implore the Iranian regime to respect the rights of the dissidents in their country to peacefully organize. That's what they say every single time. Oh my God, why is Iran crushing dissent? Meanwhile, we've seen that in great detail. And I love the title and the thumbnail. It is unapologetic rank fascism because you have majority of the Democrats, including majority of Jewish voters, who support a ceasefire. And now, I love everything that's going on right now. I love everything. Like in terms of the class traders getting involved, the militancy involved. I love every single bit of it. But a lot of these people are not calling for a free Palestine. Let's be real. Because a lot of these people are calling for a ceasefire, my friends. And I gotta say I support it because this inspired revolutionary action. This is what we need to get to the true ass. A lot of these people in these protests, they're simply asking for a ceasefire. They're not even asking for the radical shit I think we truly should be advocating for. Like I won't acknowledge Israel or accept their right to exist. They are a terrorist state that violate international law. There's no reason to accept that. But so despite the fact that you have very, well, I think mild ask, like you have people like, hey, can we please stop funding a genocide? Can we please stop doing that? And the response of our government is to send out the NYPD and police militias all over the country and brutalize protesters. And guys, they do this at the same time as they protect and shield Mossad agents that was inserted into these protests as chaos agents, which these same Zionists and Israeli domestic terrorists was launching fireworks and attacking Palestine. I told you guys I'm gonna stop saying that, and I implore you guys stop saying pro-Palestinian protesters. It creates us versus them. We are anti-genocide protesters. Like this happened anywhere else, we'd be pissed. But like the fascist Zionists, they was assaulting the pro-Palestinian students and supporters with the protection of the police. It's literally unreal what we are seeing nowadays. And as you have, and actually, CJ, I'll pass you before I get started. CJ, anything else you want to add? Because
I can kind of preface this, and I like that we're doing Nick and CJ today because of my move. I'm kind of more hovering over the story and getting not surface level, a little deeper than surface level, but I know the rest of my RBN family has been engaged a lot more than me. So it's like I'm able to give an angle of a person who may not be as entrenched in this. And this looks ridiculous to me.
Bro,
like this is why I'm like, okay, I got to do a show today, because a couple of days ago I was like, I wasn't gonna do a show, and then when I select, because Professor Zunka sends me shit because he's on campus, so I'm getting texts of what's going on, and I'm like, what the hell? He's sending me pictures and shit. I'm like, what the hell is going on over there? So that's why I'm like, okay, we got to get back on here, because what we're seeing here, what we have to understand is, like, this is why I say post-pandemic, there's been such an unmasking of the empire. And one of what this unmasking I'm about to say is the police unmasking. Now you have a group of people who are saying stop killing people, and those people are the people the police have been called on to come to remove. Do you see who the police are working for? Do you see why the police, the entity? It doesn't matter if you are a good person outside of your job. The entity is the issue. Look what they're doing now. They should be coming in on the side of the protesters, protecting us as we barrel in these buildings and take over these buildings. That's what the police should be doing. But they're not, because they're not on our side as a working class people. So this is just a way to crystallize. The police are not part of the working class. The police are not part of any sort of working class international movement. They are the defenders of the ruling class. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's why I say unapologetically that there's no such thing as a good cop. Because if you're a good cop, you get fired yesterday. A good cop disobeys orders that don't serve their primary agenda of protecting and serving. Who are they protecting and serving right now, my friends? With this, they're protecting and serving the interests of a hostile, genocidal foreign power. Are they raiding and being the shit out of the ruling class so they can provide us health care? Are they storming Congress to stop the illegal wars that we're funding? I thought their job was to be law enforcement. So Joe Biden is breaking Leahy's law and funding terrorists. So are the cops going to break into the White House? No, they don't serve the law. They serve the ruling class. And if you sign up for this, you should never be trusted in the movement. You should be a hostile force. So now all the progressives, I'm gonna see if I can find this tweet, because the video I reply with this is pretty crazy. Right now, I'm literally digging for all these crazy police brutality videos. There's so many of them. But all the progressives who oppose defund the police, oh man, come on, man, we need reforms. You gotta know the NYPD police budget is 3 times higher than North Korea's military budget. The NYPD police budget is similar, and I say that because they often overtake each other. Their police budget is similar to the military budget of Iran. But people wanted to move away from the financial argument. Why are they spending as much as other countries' military for policing? Because they're preparing to go to war with their own people. CJ, who said that 2-3 years ago?
RBN.
Other people are like, oh, we can't talk about defund the police. We might scare suburban white people. The same people cheering this on. We don't scare suburban white people. We tell the truth. The ruling class was openly preparing to go to war with anyone who dissents against their wars and against their authoritarianism. And the many people who consider themselves anti-establishment let it happen because they didn't want to support defund the police. That's the moderate position, fam. You guys understand the most unhinged part of the criminal justice system in the United States is the funding? Like, people are like, oh, we got to talk about reforms. That was the craziest part. That's the biggest weakness. If you're a fiscal conservative, why are you not? We can poke fiscal conservatives about how much they spend on the police. That was always their biggest weakness. And then a bunch of social democrats wanted to run away from it. And then they see militarized tanks going down the city. And they're like, oh my God, why is this happening? Because you guys advocated for it. I know it's
Let me say this.
Go ahead, CJ.
And let me also say this for those who were against defunded for police, for those who are supporters of the Democratic Party as a whole, this is what you sign up for when you make a deal with them.
Yeah.
This is what you sign up for. So yeah, they'll let you say all the virtual signaling of healthcare and all that, which they're never going to bring up legislation. But this is the deal you make up with. This is the deal you made with them, because this is the Democrats that's doing this repression. This is Joe Biden administration in office. So you can't walk this line. This is why I said this is such an unmasking. It's an unmasking of this social democrat, justice Democrat bullshit. It's an unmasking of that. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah, I'm never gonna live it down because, bro, I talk about it all the time. I still remember shit because I was part of the Bernie campaign, but I was deep in the Bernie wing of the left. Bro, I remember when I was publicly, very openly, I thought that we all was going to do, rebel once Bernie lost, and I was openly against Biden. The amount of people who used to love my work and then despise me, like out of nowhere, because I want to support Biden. Those same people are turning around like, oh my God, this is fascism. This is what happens when you vote for Democrats. Hold on. Nah, bro. We need a time of accountability. We need a moment of accountability right now, because you got all these people saying these tweets. Actually, I wasn't planning on saying this, but I'm gonna give you guys an example, because I was just tweeting about this earlier today. A lot of people are confused because I have seen this storyline happen quite a few times. You had Hassan that tweeted this out. Let me see. Here it is. Since I'm mentioning it in passing. Look, this is what, and I'm also showing this for a reason, because this is the message that is coming from people. We'll show you guys why the veil is lifted. Like the era where you can pretend to be a lesser of two evil voting motherfucker. You can't do that with any credibility as a leftist. So Hassan, the very popular Twitch streamer, who hated our idea of a general strike until he stole the idea. He said, good thing we voted for Biden, so this would never happen. And a lot of people was happy. He got way more likes than you see. This is why I screenshotted it. Actually, no. Oh no, that's my tweet. I wish I included how much likes this got. It got a lot of likes. I'm like 300 is definitely low for Hassan. But this tweet got like 1,000. You know, Hassan got like 10,000 at least every tweet.
Yeah.
Okay, like, oh yes, isn't it crazy that we voted for Biden and this happened? If only there was a group, if there only wasn't a bunch of young black people, Marxists, who wasn't telling you guys that this was going to happen. You guys see what these people do? And it's a culture of the left that deeply upsets me, that these people sheep herd people to the Democratic Party. And then as the Democrat reigns, and then you see the evil, the neoliberalism, then during that time they grift as a dissenter. All of a sudden you, the person who advocated vote for Joe Biden, all of a sudden you're the dissenter, and all of a sudden you get all these clicks. You get all these, like, look at people, oh my God, look how radical Hassan is. You see him on Piers Morgan? Look at the reporting that Ryan Grimm is doing. You see how he's calling out Israel? These are the same. See that? Yeah, you get my point. These are the same people who built their platforms supporting the Democrats. So when are these people going to be held accountable for arguing for fascism? Because, CJ, this is what I would tell them. When they were, oh, we didn't know. Don't let them say that, because me and Nico House, I still remember Nico was another person. Me and Nico, my hotspot brother, we would tell these people that if you vote for Joe Biden, you're voting for fascism. You're voting for white supremacy. And these same people will say, oh, look, this is why no one takes you seriously. You're so hyperbolic. You're so hyperbolic. The Hassans and the Vosses of the world, like, oh, you're so hyperbolic. And now they're getting it. And now they want to turn around and trying to win favor. And this is something I implore people. Can we have respect and prop up the people who got things right instead of people who go through this fucking pattern? Because I'm not even convinced that he's going to keep this up. That's why I don't praise him. I praise these people around October. Because I see this happen.
Not me. November 6th, after the election. I'm going all the way to the election, bro.
Yeah, feel free. That's fair enough. The reason why I say that, because, bro, I've seen the storyline enough. These same people are going to turn around because, bro, Trump is just getting started, bro. Trump is going to say some crazy shit. He just said some crazy shit. the other day. Yeah. I mean, yesterday, because they got to play this balancing act. So right now, everyone mad at Democrats. But trust me, bro, you guys haven't seen Republicans. Wait till them ads pop, bro. Wait till the NRA ads pop in October. Wait until Trump surrogates are on corporate media every day. Wait till you see the Trump ads, which will be unhinged. Wait till you see the ad from congressional Republicans talking about fuck gay people, wherever the fuck they talk about, fuck gay people. They're going to run all these crazy ads, and then these same people that was loud in March, in April, going to see those Republican ads. They're going to see Trump speak, and they're going to be like, hey, man, I know we was mad earlier. I know I said fuck Joe Biden earlier, but come on, man, we got to be responsible. Guys, I promise to God that is exactly what's about to happen. I don't know who.
Yeah, and we're gonna be like, what about Gaza?
Yeah, they gonna.
And we're gonna be like, what about Gaza? We're gonna be like, what about Gaza? And we're gonna be like, what about Gaza? What about 50,000? Because probably at that time we'll be at about 50,000 dead people. And they're gonna be like, why are you bringing up old stuff, bro? Why are you bringing up old stuff? But we can't let me just make an add to your point. Let me just add to your point, because you were saying we can't let these these are two-faces. These social democrats are two-faced, because the whole reason Israel even has the money and weapons to do what they're doing is because you guys supported the Democratic Party. That's the whole reason they have that. Now, we can't let them forget how many things are they getting it wrong, Nick? Have you seen the latest thing that John Fetterman has been doing, Nick? How many times are we going to let these social democrats get everything wrong? They're getting Israel wrong. Oh, why are you getting mad about a single issue, bro? There's more than what?
Bro, you think I'm ever going to let Fetterman flip it down? I'm going to let you finish, CJ, but you think I'm ever going to let... Now, I remember all you, but I remember Crystal Ball, Vanguard. I'm never going to... They're going to do these... They do this content talking shit about Fetterman. I seen like Kyle Kalinske and the Vanguard and these people snipe at Fetterman. Nah, nigga, it's too late now, bro. I'm never, ever going to let them forget that they supported John Fetterman. In fact, the Vanguard got extremely mad at us. That was one of the reasons why they dropped the diss track on us. Because they were like, oh, see, they always use Palestine out. And this quote by Zach will live rent-free in my head for the rest of my life. They like, these RBN, they use Palestine as a way to drive a wedge in our movement. That's something he said with a serious face. I remember hearing it.
Somebody got to find that clip. Somebody has to find that clip and tag them on Twitter.
Bro, we need someone, bro. It was like a long time ago, bro. I remember very specifically. Obviously, the words may not be specific. It was a long time ago, but it was something like that. The criticism they had was RBN used Palestine as a wedge to divide the movement. They remember when I grilled Marianne Williamson over this as well. They was furious at me for doing that. Because that was another thing. They said, yeah, see how Nick always obsessed over Palestine? That's the way he just found one issue he can divide the movement over. And he's a chaos agent that's using that one issue to divide. And that's, bro, I heard this all the time, my friends. I know I'm way too self-involved. This is my life, right? You guys don't see this shit. I'm telling you guys, I know the criticism of me right now. I know what you guys say about me. I know what other people say about me. I know what they said to me about me back then. That was the criticism of me from the Bernie left about 2 years ago. RBN are just people who use purity tests, who take foreign policy issues and use that as a way to cancel otherwise good progressives. I know some people probably heard that before in the audience, right? That is considered fact among the TYT left. But anyway, all right, I'll read some super chats and I'll get back on topic because I know we both limited on time today. I'm gonna read super chats because I always like to do that so we don't get too buried. And then I'm going to cover this story. And we've seen, everyone been seeing what's going on. But you guys know, I like to craft a story. And I'm going to paint this picture for you guys. So sit back and enjoy this ride I'm about to take you on. Because I'm not only just going to cover yesterday. I'm going to show you what led to yesterday as well. So we're going to go in order of the events. I'm going to take you guys on the route. So stay tuned. Please like and subscribe and share before we get to our first official segment. Because me and CJ, you guys know it's been a while, Nick and CJ. We can riff literally the first hour. The first hour we can riff. But anyway, let's read super chats and I'll continue. Thank you for the $2. Dr. Nick from Dr. Nick Rivera. Nick needed to smoke Joe Stein out. I definitely wanted to, my friends. Definitely wanted to. It was a pleasure. And one thing you notice, and one thing that like infuriates me, because we all seen the viral video of Joe Stein being brutally arrested by the police officers. Like, do you guys know how small Joe Stein is? Like she's so like very small. And I seen that video of her being arrested by the police. What kind of psychopath will throw her, like, treat her like that? Like, and I'm not even talking about the substance. Like, bro. Anyway, it was glorious to meet Stein. I can't wait to show you guys the panel that we did later tonight for Nick and Knight. Thank you for gifting some memberships, Gola. Thank you for the membership, Darrell, my homie in Seattle. I met a lot of homies in Kansas. I met all my homies that go to KU, so that was dope. And the person who organized the Kansas Green Party watches RBN. And once again, I take pride in the organization we built, CJ, because all the people who hate us are like, we have the best enemies, bro. Because when you look at when we on the ground, bro, the people who like us are the activists, the people on the ground, fam. Like, there wasn't any people at the event jeering or being, oh, you're red, brown, and lions, RBN. Those people don't exist, bro. I promise to God. And that's why I'm like, I know I'm too online sometimes, but like doing these events, this is why I don't apologize for my politics. Like, all this noise you guys hear online is exactly that, just online. The same thing that happened when I went to Worker Strike Back event. The same thing when Sabby holds her events. The same thing I hear from JB and CJ. We got the support of the people on the streets, and that's all that matters. You know what I mean? The Intercept not going to like us. TYT not going to like us. The Washington, D.C., the media not going to like us. Who gives a shit? We got the people on our side, which I take pride in. Let's a few more super chats and I'll move on for real. This be the last one. CJ, you still think Stein is an infiltrator? Thank you for the $2, sister.
That I think who is an infiltrator?
Stein.
Jill Stein?
I'll let you know. Yeah.
I didn't say I think Jill Stein is an infiltrator. I said I think Jill Stein associated herself with an infiltrator, and I absolutely think that what's his name? Peter Dow is an infiltrator. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
that's still a critique. I've told Jill Stein this. This is not anything she doesn't.
Yeah. So
no, this is. And who is this? Sister?
No, listen. So you gotta know there are like only maybe 2 people that are being ever criticized without getting their feelings. Because I'm not gonna speak for a group, but I can speak for myself. I don't believe in canceling people. Like, I can criticize you, but I'll be in communion with you. I criticize MAGA communists, but I still invite them on my show. I'll still talk to them. I don't dislike them. I'll criticize your strategic moves here. I criticize when you push in the cultural war here. But at the end of the day, bro, I don't cancel people. When I say I hate cancel culture, I really believe it. I will criticize you in one day, and then we'd be cool, because I'm like, all right, that was just one criticism. And our media culture in the United States has been so bitch-made for so long, people can't handle it. People see RBN criticize you one time, and they think we try and cancel people. You RBN will criticize someone one time, people will freak out. You want to know the 2 people, they just come on top of my mind. The only 2 people we ever criticized without freaking out, Jill Stein and Jimmy Dore. Those are 2 people that was criticized by the channel who didn't get in their fucking feelings and wanted to continue to build this damn movement.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, just think about it, Nick. I'm gonna give Sister Citizen grace, because I don't know if this is a drive-by or if this is a person trying to stir up stuff, or if this is a legitimate, curious conversation. So I'm gonna give you grace and just assume this is a legitimate sort of curious thing. But when you're in community with somebody, this is what's so jarring. You can take it off now. This is what's so jarring. Yeah. It's not more. I'm moving away from more Jill Stein but this is what's so jarring to people. Why RBN has been so jarring to people is that they don't understand the nature of how they've been taught politics is not the way we should be doing it. So when they see us and we're doing it the way that a Lenin would do it, we're doing it the way that a movement would do it, where there's lots of debate, there's lots of criticism, but there's not canceling. You get what I'm saying? There's lots of that going on, but there's not. That's very jarring to people. It makes you think, oh, are you guys going to get in a fight? Like with Breonna Joy Gray. I could have a conversation and have dinner with Breonna Joy Gray right now. Like that, like it's not a personal grudge, but when you are fiercely advocating for a working class movement where you think they have been duped over and over, that's something I protect very vigorously. So, and people need to understand that. And Jill Stein and Jimmy Dore are 2 people who do understand it, because we'll say when we disagree and we'll invite them on for another conversation. Just think, we criticized Jill Stein. Didn't you go see her yesterday? Hasn't she been on the Sabby show? Hasn't she been on the JB show? It's like, of course. The criticism doesn't take away from the goodness of the person. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm not perfect either. I got downfalls in my beliefs also. So it's not one-sided. But go ahead.
Yeah. So once again, we did a video critiquing something that Jimmy said on race, and then he invited us on a few weeks to promote on mutual aid and Skid Row. Remember? Like, yeah. These are the people that are being fucked with, and people wonder why we don't cancel Jimmy, because he's one of the few people that we can criticize without this motherfucker freaking the hell out. You know what I mean? But anyway, we can move on unless you have anything you want to add.
No, we can go. Let's get to the subject.
Oh, I already prefaced the police. You guys seen all this, and I'm also very skeptical about showing all this stuff because I'm very careful about our strings getting pulled because they're looking for any reason. So I'm gonna show you just this here, and I'm gonna show you guys the legendary Morning Joe segment, which I'm not gonna preface because we got a lot of time. And that, bro, I'll tell you in this video I'm gonna show you, CJ, with Morning Joe, it's gonna be damn near impossible to get through this 10 minutes without stopping every 15 seconds because it's probably Morning Joe been like they've been outdoing themselves every fucking day. They get crazier. Because I co-hosted Due Dissidents. I think it was last week. Days are starting to blur for me. So I think last week I was on Due Dissidents, and then we did a Morning Joe reaction video. I was like, damn, that shit was crazy. Then I found a video, did a reaction video to that. I was like, no, this one was crazier. Then I saw this video. I know this one is crazier than all the ones we saw. So they find a way to get worse. But before we get to that, I'm gonna show you guys exactly the craziness that we are dealing with right now. So, and remember, and I saw this from Dan Cohen, because this is a great point. I want to get Dan Cohen props for reminding me of this. Do you guys remember how Michael Bloomberg once boasted that the NYPD was his private army? People think that the police is here to defend us. Michael Bloomberg and the oligarchs often brag about how the police work for them. Michael Bloomberg once famously said that. And now we got the Netanyahu PD. The Netanyahu PD. And I'm going to show you guys this because our country had descended to the level of fascism that they no longer have to hide it, CJ. They know that they can openly brag about how corrupt they are, and if we want to do anything about it, they will kill us. And then white America going to apologize for them for doing it. So because they had this fascism, they're getting very cocky. Now, I study history. You guys study history? You guys study revolutionary history? What leads to revolution? A revolution happens is when you have Nepo babies in charge. When the empire was passed off to the Nepo babies, and then the Nepo baby, because the empire was there for generations and generations, they get arrogant. And they're not good at maintaining their propaganda. They start flaunting their wealth and influence and their corruption to the people's face. This is like famously what the French monarchy did. Let them eat cake is like the best example, like the arrogance flaunting of it. Now I'm showing you guys this because I have no idea why they would show Americans this. This is the NYPD chief of patrol. This was last year. You know the time where RBN was viciously covering police brutality and defunding the police like we've done since the inception. So last year, you had, actually, I'll just read a tweet. During his visit to, this is the NYPD chief of patrol. During his visit to the United States, Israeli President Isaac Herzog stopped by police headquarters to meet with executives and members of the NYPD. So the obvious question, why would the president of Israel be interested in meeting with police in the United States? And now the professional manager is like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Guys, there are a lot of great, and I'm literally, this is a friendly jab. I don't hate those people at all. It's a friendly jab at these social democrats right now because I like every single tweet I've seen from them last night, CJ. I'm friendly. I'm jabbing them in a very friendly way because I see all these people right now like, oh my God, this is fascism. I can't believe this is happening. I may not vote for Biden now. This is crazy, guys. There's I can have two thoughts at once.
What? You heard that too?
No, CJ. I know you more offline than me, so I'm telling you.
I never see this stuff.
So, guys, I like those tweets. I love their energy. But I can have 2001. I also can playfully jab them because it was obvious this was always the end result of you supporting Democrats and being apologetic of the police state. You would think that this would be treasonous here. You have all these white people, and Sean Strickland was one of them. He was a former middleweight champion. Actually, let me see if I can find it. Fuck. I didn't quite ratio him. But you know how people have a lot of followers? Like he was a former UFC champion, so this motherfucker got a ton of followers. He was saying something like, I don't know if I'll be able to find it super quickly, but he was saying stuff like, man, I hate how fucking people in this country always fly the flag. He was talking about Mexicans. I'm scrambling to find a tweet. He was talking about Mexicans. He was like, why all these Mexicans always fly non-American flags? Because you gotta know how the MMA community is. Fucking cringe as hell. Here it is. I had to show you guys this. So this is not a ratio, but bro, this is pretty good when you go after someone pretty damn famous. So look, before I dive into this guy, I decided this would be good to show you before I show you guys the flag. This is what you will hear from white America. White America will say this shit with their chest. CJ, white America, I'm so sick of seeing goddamn foreign flags in America. I don't get it. You left your corrupt country to come to the United States and you still rep what you flag? The worst is the Hispanics. See, you guys see who he called out? Look at the white boy. He know who his masters are. White boy know who his masters are. So he's not going to call the Israelis. And obviously, this is the tweet I clapped his ass on when I say this. He's not going to call out the Zionist traitors to his country because many white Americans know who their masters are. So what white Americans going to do, like Sean Strickland, former middleweight champion, he's going to complain about Hispanics flying the Mexican flag. Like, the worst is Hispanics born in America who fly the Mexican flag. Where's your loyalty? Just go back. Go back to where you come from. Enjoy your foreign flag. So obviously I said the obvious. Clipped his ass. Keep that same energy for Zionists who fly the Israeli flag. I bet you won't. About 10,000 likes on that. And the reason I'm bringing this all up because look at what Sean Strickland is not mad at. The NYPD flying the Israeli flag. Where are the white people right now, friends? Where are the white people like, oh, you guys flying foreign flags as they got Confederate flags up? Oh, you goddamn Africans, all the Mexicans, all you motherfuckers flying other people's flags. They don't got shit to say to Israel. These white boys in white America, they know who their masters are. Why aren't white people lining up and saying, hey, if you fly an Israeli flag, go back to Israel? Right? But anyway, that was a completely unplanned rant because it's just absurd to see this, right?
But it's a good one because it shows the hypocrisy that they only try to use that sort of explanation. It shows the racism, basically. It shows that because you're only saying flags when it comes to non-white people, but white countries are white flags, just like the Israel flag. They have no issue with. It's just a great indication, but continue.
So I'm gonna show you guys the morning Joe segment I've been hyping for a while. But before I show you guys this, I'm gonna show you guys what the students are protesting. I have to show you guys what the students are protesting before I show you guys the unhinged garbage that we see from, which is, I know I keep saying it, but they're getting worse, bro. This is the worst segment I've ever seen. It was so bad that I literally screen recorded it to post on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that. I had a viral, tweet because I posted the video. One of the people saying that this is worse than this is like October 7th. Bro, how many times have you seen me do that, CJ? The segment was so bad, nigga, I paused, got the screen recorder app out, like, nigga, you guys gotta see this shit right now. But this is what they are protesting. You guys realize that Israel is literally planning a Rafah Holocaust. We are currently seeing probably the worst, most blatant violation of human rights and international law in decades. And I'm being very cautious when I say that because I want to go harder than that. But let's just keep it simple, say decades. Because look at this. This is what's going on in Rafah right now to maximize the amount of Palestinians that are killed. CJ, let me read this out. This is truly insanity. And if you're not pissed about this, you're an enemy. We deserve to put you down. The checkpoints. So let me explain. So during this military excursion, the Israeli government set up checkpoints so people in Rafah can leave Rafah. Because they're like, oh, we care about civilians. Like, now check out what the checkpoints actually are. The checkpoints are designed to allow some women and children, some women and children to leave Rafah ahead of an expected Israeli offensive. But unarmed civilian Palestinian men will likely be separated from their families and remain trapped in Rafah during the expected Israeli assault where they're going to kill everybody. Do you guys know how many children in Gaza only have one male dependent? Because the mother was killed. So I saw a story, and I'm mad I can't give credit, but I saw a story a long time ago about the rise of single parents and single dads in Gaza because there are a lot of women who was killed. So you guys understand, by doing this, they're literally about to eliminate the father and create countless orphans because there are a lot of Palestinian children that only have one father household now because of the genocide. And now all these men are about to be wiped out at these checkpoints. And if this happens, and I think it's going to happen, this will be one of the worst human rights violations and breach of international law I have ever read. And I know that may sound hyperbolic, but guys, I have read a lot of shit. You know what I mean? I've studied foreign policy for a very long time. I studied war. There's not much worse than this. CJ, do you want to react? Because after this, I'm going to show you guys the Morning Joe video. Because now I'm going to show you guys the establishment freaking out and calling college kids terrorists because they're protesting this. Our generation is protesting our government funding this. And then the corporate media in the ruling class is demonizing the base at Gen Z. But CJ, before I get to the Morning Joe video, which I will not I'm not going to preface the video at all anymore because the video is going to be so crazy. I promise you're going to have a lot to say about it. So CJ, anything else you want to add before I get directly to the video?
Yeah, I actually hadn't heard about this checkpoint story, which is
it's
absolutely
new.
absurd. But yeah, but what I don't understand I'm sure they're going to have some bogus story, but it's getting to the point, Nick, where it is like SNL levels, like comedy sketches when John Kirby comes out here and tries to say, oh, I don't think Israel's doing that. I don't think Israel's doing this. Like what would they have to say? What could they possibly have to say about this new thing you're talking about in Rafah? It's just amazing. But they're going to come up with something.
CJ.
But it also speaks to the point I was making earlier. It's an unmasking. It is such an unmasking where people are like, this just doesn't pass the smell test. And I don't even need to know anything about what's going on. But what you're saying just logically doesn't make sense. Go ahead.
Yeah, CJ, to answer your question, I hope I have time for this today. Because, guys, I have so much to cover. There's literally zero chance I get through all the stuff. I planned on whatever I don't cover tonight, it will be Nick at night later. But if I get to this point in my long-ass outline I prepared for you guys, you had the Biden administration in light of the ICC issuing arrest warrants, possibly against Netanyahu. They're outright repeating Jewish supremacy, Likud propaganda. To answer your question, like, how could they spin it? They're essentially saying, no, you can't use international law against Jewish people. I'm not kidding. But anyway, let's get to this video. Once again, no preface, because you guys see, this is a long video, and we're going to have a lot to say. So I'm absolutely not going to preface this at all. Everything I covered up to this point in the preface. Let's get right to it.
And certainly not children of...
I think it might be low. Let me check the audio. Yeah, I have it low. Here you go. Let me start from the beginning. Bro, this shit is something else.
I'm certainly not saying this of all the student protesters that are out there. And certainly not children of Palestinian families who have lost loved ones through the years in this war, in this conflict. I will say, though, among, again, and I've spoken with some of them, I want to be careful, but among these white, woke, pampered, elitist, I'm not supposed to use that.
Now, let's analyze what happened. We see we made 30 seconds here. We already found something interesting. It's going to be like this all video. I'm telling you guys. There's going to be one video I got a lot of explaining to do. Like, you understand that Joe Scarborough is upset at the concept of white allyship. So what liberals are claiming, people in the corporate media, they're claiming the only people that should care about the genocide in Palestine are people who have Palestinian family members. Do you understand how disgusting that is? So if there was a genocide in Mexico right now, let's create a scenario where there's a genocide in Mexico. So the only people who should be protesting that are Mexicans? And people have family in Mexico? Guys, that is what they say all the time. They're like, oh, I understand if you're Palestinian, you're protesting this. But if you're black and if you're white, don't ever show them support, though. We're not supposed to support them. Go ahead.
But Nick, they have a particular, and I was talking about this the other day with Professor Zunkus. They have Chuck Modi. They have a particular offense. It's a particularly offensive to them when white students are joining this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a particular offense because it's like, it's an offense because, and this is what I see. It's like Joe Scarborough is saying, white students, do you understand you are going against your own white interest by being against this? Do you not understand the empire is to uphold the white power structure? So why are you joining this? Because this is against your interest. They can't say that, but that's what they want to say. It doesn't make sense. Why are you here? This is against your interest. That's their particular offense about it. But go ahead.
That's such a great point. I watched the amazing stream you did. I was trolling in the chat a lot. The stream you did with Zekis, we made that point. It's such a great point. They're in shambles over their children rebelling against their established order. Because remember, they took over the reins from the competent members of the ruling class who built the empire. So then it was ingrained into them that they are defenders of the empire, and they took it with pride. Oh, my father built this empire up. My father committed mass atrocities, and I'm still here to do propaganda for him and the gains that he got. So those same people that went through this process where their parents passed the empire to them, they're at the point where they're trying to pass the empire to their kids, and they're rejecting the keys. Like Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman went on this entire real red pill nonsense because his daughter is a Marxist who supports a free Palestine. We're witnessing. I may be naive for saying this. I admit this. We've seen it for the first time. The children of the ruling class in this country starting to rebel. Once again, I may be naive when I say that. But that concept is panicking the ruling class. Now let's continue. Cause bro, this segment right here is something else. But let's get. I want to show his point again. I'll let it continue because this is the part where he's wagging his fingers at. He's like, I understand the pain of the Palestinians, but you motherfuckers better let them suffer alone.
Through the years in this war, in this conflict. I will say, though, among, again, and I've spoken with some of them, I want to be careful, but among these white, woke, pampered, elitist, I'm not supposed to use that word, let's say children from wealthy families that decide, as Dr. Brzezinski said so many years ago, that they're going to play radical for a weekend and then go home to mommy and daddy's mansion.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Show me one revolution that was accomplished without class raiders. Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, they all were class traders. But you guys see how the ruling class, they understand the effectiveness of having class traders help an uprising movement to challenge the empire. That's why they're in trouble. Well, I'll let it continue. I think you guys get it. I'm gonna keep the stop to a minimal, but when I do stop it, I will have something important to say.
There's a complete ignorance about the complexities of this issue. Now, of course, if you listen to this show, you would understand many of the complexities of this issue because we have been really tough on Israeli officials that come on this show. We have asked why they've continued to allow illegal settlements in the West Bank over the decade. why they have continued to fight against a two-state solution for peace, why they have done what they've done in Gaza, why they did with Hamas, why Netanyahu was Hamas's ally leading up to October the 7th. So it's very complicated. That's lost, though, in a lot of those things. And when you start talking about even West Bank settlements with a lot of these students, their eyes glaze over. Because that's not in the TikTok.
Now, I'm not going to talk a lot here because he's going to be condescending, but we all know this is not true. This narrative, they're like, oh, they're just dumb kids. This is pure Kobe. I'll let it continue because it's so ridiculous.
Again, I'm not saying this about all the students, but I will tell you, I'm saying about a hell of a lot of students.
Wait, I'm sorry, I have to say, it doesn't even make sense at face value. Like, if think about the situation they just painted, these are wealthy, rich, white kids. Do you really think wealthy, rich, white kids are going to ruin their reputation within their class, face class retaliation, get expelled from the schools over an issue they don't know about? I promise you, if anyone making this decision to face a police state that we seen last night, they know this issue up and fucking down. And I don't have to hammer that point too much because I know you guys know it. If you talk to anyone at a protest, that will be the smartest motherfucker most likely you're gonna talk to all week. The people who go to protest are the people who are usually the most informed. The people who don't go to protest are usually motherfuckers just playing PlayStation, watching Netflix, jacking off, and assuming everything in the world is great. Meanwhile, let me continue. I'm gonna keep my points as short as possible because this video, bro. We wait until we get to Minka because believe it or not, bro, I've seen this whole segment because I was watching almost like a fucking documentary, bro. Around I get to like 10 minutes more, I was like, all right, it was like watching a documentary. Let's see how crazy they can get. I watched the whole thing. Guys, believe it or not, Joe Scarborough is probably the least insane person that you're gonna hear on this panel. Believe it or not. So let's continue.
I have spoken with when you go.
Let me go back a little bit for context. I know it can be hard to follow sometimes when I stop it.
Complicated. That's lost, though, in a lot of those things. And when you start talking about even West Bank settlements with a lot of these students, their eyes glaze over. Because that's not in the TikTok video. And again, I'm not saying this about all the students, but I will tell you, I'm saying about a hell of a lot of students I have spoken with. When you go, well, you know, in 2000, there was an Oslo Accord where Bill Clinton had gotten together and they were giving 97% of the West Bank to the Palestinians and the other 3% they were going to make up with Israeli land, and they had figured out a capital in East Jerusalem, and they sit there with their eyes glazed. Because they have no idea what happened.
This absolutely did not happen.
What happened through the years? They see something on TikTok and they're like, Israel bad and Hamas good, and they go out and they start.
So Joe Scarborough is doing this thing. Yeah, I'll pass right to you, CJ. I'll make this point real quick. Joe Scarborough doing this thing like, oh my God, these are the young dumb kids. You understand how ridiculous Zionists are when they say this? You understand the majority of the world is pro-Palestine? Like the International Criminal Court is about to fucking issue an arrest warrant on Netanyahu. Meanwhile, Joe Scarborough like, oh my God, these kids don't know what's going on. Bro, you guys are in the minority. The only thing that protects Israel is U.S. veto power. But go ahead and make your point, CJ, before you forget it.
No, I was just gonna say this is just a complete professional managerial class, sort of elitist from an educational standpoint, critique that they always try to use because you don't know all the histories and the data points that they want to pull out of history, because maybe the person they're talking to can pull out other data points that they have been studying more closely. But this is what they do. Oh, you don't know this? You don't know this Oslo Accord? No, what I do know that there's 30,000 dead people. I know that part. You get what I'm saying? They're trying to make it seem like the most important points of what's going on, these young people are unaware of. And the most important points is they know that this is an occupation. They know that this is colonialism. And they know that there's thousands of people getting murdered. Like, what, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's enough. That clears the threshold to be able to say, I need to go out and protest and stop this. But he's trying to say, you need to know the Oslo Accord too. And you need to know this. And you need to know that. In order to what? To clear your threshold to be able to go protest? It's absurd.
So, you know what? Now you guys see why I read this part first. You know who didn't cover this on their show? Morning Joe. Why didn't Morning Joe cover the checkpoints, CJ? You know the checkpoints where they're executing any Palestinian men, even if they're unarmed? Why didn't they cover the mass graves? I watched their show. I know what they cover and what they don't cover. They didn't cover the mass graves. They don't cover the concentration camps. So isn't it funny how they put out this messaging that the people protesting genocide are ignorant, as they don't cover stuff like this with least people hit the streets. People hit the streets because they're about to have a fucking Holocaust in Rafah. But anyway, let's continue the video because that point is so absurd. We don't have to continue on it. This idea that the people protesting don't know anything. The reason why your audience is not protesting is because you're not showing them shit. Anyway, let's continue.
Shouting at Jews.
Once again, I can't stress enough. Joe Scarborough, I still believe, after everything we've seen, he's still the most rational person we're going to see on this panel today.
Deep. You can ask, what does it mean to chant from the river to the sea?
Look,
and they don't know.
They all want to get crazy.
Tell them what it is, and we've seen this from reporters asking some, but not all of them. Some of them have a deep understanding of it.
He said that these people are chanting to the river to the sea without even knowing what it means.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, let's continue. I don't have to point out how ridiculous that is.
From the river to the sea, and they don't know. And then when you tell them what it is, and we've seen this from reporters asking some, but not all of them. Some of them have a deep understanding of this. They don't understand that that means the elimination of the state of Israel and the people who live within that state. So I've been having a lot of these same conversations as you, Joe. So if you watch our show, you know how.
So why don't you have a pro-Palestinian? Or I keep saying it. The anti-genocide protesters, bring them on the show and ask them, what do you mean when you say to the river to the sea? You notice they don't do that? Because I've seen the young people say, hey, when we say to the river to the sea, we mean liberation, fighting against colonialism. You guys see how they got a fucking straw man their argument? They don't really know what it means. No, you don't ask them. You don't have them on to explain this stuff. I'll let it continue.
Critical we've been of Netanyahu, of the prosecution of the war, that we grieve and mourn for children and women who have been killed in this war, that are starving in this war. It's a terrible, terrible thing. But that does not give kids on college campuses license to chant from the river to the sea and to say that Jewish kids should not exist in some cases.
No one said that.
No
one said that.
Columbia, for example. So, Jonathan, point of view at the ADL, what are you hearing? I mean,
not this guy. Not this guy.
Experience since October 7th.
Bro, the first 3 minutes was a warm-up, bro. Wait till you hear from this motherfucker.
Right now, in the midst of these protests, what is it like to be a Jewish student on the campus of not just Columbia, but University of Texas? There are a whole bunch of schools.
It's the right question, Willie. You know, I was at UCLA on Sunday. I was at USC on Friday talking to Jewish students. I was at Columbia last week. And let me tell you, I don't know exactly what Eugene saw at GW in terms of these tents, but I've talked to students from all these universities, and they don't feel afraid. They are with good reason, right? And as mentioned in the opening here, you had someone with a hatchet at University of Utah. You had students with hammers who broke into the building at Columbia last night. You had someone with a sword at UCLA on Sunday. This isn't normal.
You notice how he doesn't mention that those weapons was used to attack Jewish students? They just said they have it.
Normal. People showing up fully concealing
and Nick,
their faces.
The hammer was
like
breaking
ISIS
into
fighters.
A building. It wasn't even a person. The hammer he mentioned, this is a propaganda attack, and he does it so loosely. I can easily see it, and some people may see it or not. He'll say it's anti-Semitism, and then without saying, this is my illustration, they'll just start mentioning shit that has nothing to do with it. So you, the listener, will automatically, because why else would you be mentioning it? It's because what the listener's going to go, why else would he mention this unless that's what he means? That's not at all what he's saying. But let me just say this, from the river to the sea, that statement, when they say they don't even know what they means, what they're meaning to say is, the people that you don't even know how we interpret it, how Zionists interpret it. They know exactly what from the river to the sea means. That means that this is going to be a non-Jewish state. Jewish people can live there. But this should revert. I mean, if you're going to be radical like us, this should revert back to the Palestinians. Now, we're not saying Israelis should leave or be forced to leave, but they have to be. They can live there peacefully like they were prior to the 1940s.
Yeah, let's continue.
Hey, you had someone with a sword at UCLA on Sunday. This isn't normal. People showing up fully concealing their faces like they're ISIS fighters. That isn't normal. And I've heard from kids again and again and again. They are leaving campus. They are moving out of their dorms because they are worried. At Columbia, of course, President Shafiq, she had to close classes. I don't know if people realize this. Classes are over at Columbia. They all went remote because the administration was so afraid of these people.
Here it is.
I see these videos. I see these images of mass protesters breaking into buildings, barricading them with furniture. And look, I'm reminded of January the 6th. That
once again, this is going to be an RBN told you so moment, my friends. You know who I don't take seriously at all? The Bernie Sanders left. You have Bernie Sanders and AOC still talking about January 6th. Now do you guys see why RBN forcibly and strongly condemned January 6th hysteria? I strongly spoke out, and I will create funk and drama with anyone who put January 6th hysteria. Because what did I tell you guys on this show 3 years ago? Because RBN is post January 6th. January 6th has always been in reality since RBN. Ever since January 6th, we told you guys that the left has no business pushing that bullshit. No business pushing the January 6th hysteria that was always going to be used against the left later. You have AOC and her supporters. I see people who are not even politicians in the progressive movement talking about, oh my God, January 6th. Then we covered, as Ryan Graham and the Breaking Points were still covering for the squad, we covered how Ilhan Omar and the squad voted on a bill to give Capitol Police more money, quoting January 6th. So the Bernie Sanders left, the fake, fraudulent Bernie Sanders left that led the workers off a cliff, set up this situation where it can then, they said the precedent where the ruling class can then turn to lefties and say, oh, remember, you guys said you're not allowed to break in facilities. Remember, you guys told us that you wasn't allowed to protest this way. That's the affirmative that you guys gave us, Bernie, when you guys demonized January 6th. So you have to demonize this, right? This is just like January 6th. Once again, we told you motherfuckers and everyone in the left that called us Red Brown Alliance. I told you, like me advocating against voting for Biden and my statement on January 6th, there are no two statements that got me canceled more than those two. The people that hung on, CJ, there was a few people that hung on after my rebellion on voting Democrats. And then when I used to joke about January 6th, that was did it. The same left in America.
This is just another example of how this is what you get when you team up with genocidal psychopaths. They're willing to target you and take you out. Now, think about it, Nick. You made a deal. Okay, let me say all mine, sell my Medicare for all. I'll come on board with your January 6th. So I came on board. I'm here, guys. Yeah. Now they're going to use January 6th against your ass. You see how it works when you're a social democrat? It's like, it's self-loathing. It's like you are a gluttony for like pain just to be a part of this coalition, because now they're turning their guns or their targets towards you. Now, Nick, this is my second point. Listen to what they're saying in this segment. They're doing everything but telling the truth, because they know these group of people are doing good. They're fighting for the good side. They have to tie all these other bullshit. Look, they're anti-Semitic. They're saying this, and there's all these like sort of one-off sort of incidents that happen. They're trying to make it seem like that's all that's happening. Now, what are they doing with tying with January 6th? They're trying to bring in the boomers. Get on board with us hating this protest, boomers. January 6th, or at the least, the cowbell left, meaning the diehard blue MAGA. If you're on the fence where you didn't quite know if you should go hard at, supporting the Palestinian cause. Now they're trying to interject January 6th so to push you off that sort of tipping point onto their side. That's what they're doing. But go ahead.
Yep. Let's continue.
It's a lot.
That's what this looks like to me. I mean, we talk at ADL about.
No, I had to play the part again because this is the part where I thought damn it threw my phone, CJ. And I made that clip, and I had that tweet where I said that Morning Joe said that the protest was like January 6th, and that fucking video tweet blew up because everyone was like, what he say? Because I had to show people this. So I want you guys to hear the golden clip again, the part that we absolutely had to show you guys. And then once we're around 90 minutes in or so, I'm gonna show you guys the protest, which completely debunked their bullshit because they're gonna pretend that these campus protesters are like domestic terrorists, as we have the Mossad that is setting up operations where armed groups of Jewish people are attacking anti-genocide protesters. And guys, these things do not happen organically. They are part of the Mossad. Understand? But I'm gonna show you guys that here later. But just keep in mind that even corporate media, I got a segment that I definitely can't do today. There's no way I had time for it. But I'm gonna show you guys a segment that CNN did earlier today where they had to talk about how Israeli settlers, well, not Israeli settlers, but Zionists, American Zionists and American Jews was attacking peace protesters. But then, CJ, when they were doing the segment, they were trying to pretend, people were saying there was a lot of fighting. We don't know who started it, though. We don't know who knows who started it. We got videos of Zionists literally attacking peace protesters as they're pretending the peace protesters are violent. And then after seeing these videos, they're like, oh, we don't know who did it. Oh, we don't know who started all this drama here. So shameless. Let's continue this video, though.
Isn't normal. People showing up fully concealing their faces like they're ISIS fighters, that isn't normal. And I heard from kids again and again and again, they are leaving campus, they are moving out of their dorms because they are worried. At Columbia, of course, President Shafiq, she had to close classes. I don't know if people realize this. Classes are over at Columbia. They all went remote because the administration was so afraid of these people. I see these videos. I see these images of mass protesters breaking into buildings, barricading them with furniture. And look, I'm reminded of January the 6th. That's what this looks like to me. I mean, we talk at ADL about right-wing extremists, about masked Proud Boys showing up at school board meetings, about Oath Keepers wearing masks. I look at this and this is what I see. And let's be clear about one thing. The students who are doing this, the groups behind it, SJP, Palestinian Youth Movement, their response to President Shafiq's offer last night was, Columbia will burn. I mean, these students, we shouldn't treat them like children when they're hardened activists.
We shouldn't treat them like children when they are hardened activists. That's quote of the century right there. Do you see how the disdain that they have towards activists and activism? We can't treat them like children, CJ. They're activists.
Yeah, that's how they use it. Ro Khanna uses it a lot that way. I brought up before, where they use the term activists when they say it all the time. Well, you have people who support them, and then you got those activists. They use that term all the time. It literally means people like us, people who aren't willing to go along with the establishment sort of talking point, not just disagree in our heads. We're willing to go out and protest. Those the people they really, really hate, and this is why they have such disdain for these people. And what are they going to do, Nick? This is leading up. A lot of these protesters are white, so I'm very interested to see what the sort of end result of this is going to be. Is it going to be the same sort of repression if this, for the BLM? Is it going to be the same amount of arrests, the same amount of prosecutions, the same type of charging, like the same high level charging? Is it going to be that? So I'm curious to see what's and it's their kids. You have to understand the people who go to Ivy League schools are the elite's kids. So these are their kids that's out there. That's why I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
One more thing before I continue, just to wrap up what this guy said. You guys realize that he compared people who are protesting their government as funding a genocide with the Proud Boys and other white supremacists. So when you see a Proud Boy march, when you see these Fed marches, ask yourself this question: what are they marching for? Like, when the Proud Boy march, do they think there's gonna be legislation that ban all white people? They're marching for nothing, and a lot of these people are Feds. So how can you compare people who are literally marching for nothing with people who are literally protesting their government? But that's the shameless stuff that they say here. Let's continue.
Adults, and go ahead.
No, so I was just going to say this is it's one half about the students. It's also about, Mika, these authorities and the lack of them. Why are these school administrators, why are they abdicating their responsibility to this degree? And this affects students, it affects outsiders, it affects teachers with tenure. The last I checked, tenure is supposed to give you intellectual protection so you can say things in classrooms. It doesn't, it seems to me, give you the ability to break the law with impunity. And I just don't understand what's, and you see also the difference on the campuses between what's happening on some, Chicago and Florida, as opposed to what's happening at Columbia and others. There's an enormous gap in the principle and backbone we're seeing here.
Well, Richard, to your point, I think that's where that's the place.
Here we go. You guys know how crazy I got to skip for a second of time. I'm not even going to comment on what the last guy just said, because this is the moment we all been waiting for. This right here, this rant that we were about to hear from Mika Brzezinski is going to go down as one of the most all-time, most unhinged rants that we ever seen. Now, yes, I literally had to pause the video to warn you guys. When I saw this rant, I put my phone down and I had to stop, and I was in awe. Literally in shambles. So let's watch this. What you about to hear from Mika Brzezinski is absolutely glorious. And I promise on my integrity, and CJ, hopefully you follow me on this. Let's let the whole rant play through, because there's no way I can. There's no way I can. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show this whole rant uninterrupted. I'm going to be tearing my hair off my head, and we're going to come back when we meet, and we're going to talk about what we just watched, okay? So it's going to be horrifying to listen to this.
We've all been sitting and watching this going, what the hell is going on? What are these universities doing? Why aren't they doing something? And I'll echo the horror that this does look like January 6th. What a terrible example for our students. At the same time, these are young adults. And the question is, why do you choose to learn about the complexities of other situations around the world for college, university presidents and deans who want to maintain control, but also preserve free speech? What are solutions? Let's talk about solutions.
It's very simple. You first of all, you enforce the rules of your college campuses. There is a concept.
Well, but you know that at this point would be hard to do.
Well, no, actually, what
I'm just saying, you go out there and you start arresting people.
Yeah, you do. You either follow the law, you don't follow the law. There's a concept.
I don't think it's that simple.
In the First Amendment. No, if you, I will say, I understand over the last 24 hours what the Columbia administration has been trying to do. They've been trying to bring this to a peaceful resolution. And what happened? People got hammers and they broke into buildings. At that point,
that's a crime.
At that point, that's a crime. They should all be arrested, and they shouldn't be suspended. They should be expelled from school.
Hear, hear.
But this is virtue.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear. Hear, hear. Oh boy, I was fucking seething.
But what I said, what I said earlier, and we're seeing it on illustration most vividly on Morning Joe. It is a seething anger towards white students in particular for participating and taking it to this level. Now, think about it, Nick. You have people part of the ruling class who is saying to people in the ruling class, if these are your fucking kids that's taking it to this extreme, that's threatening white power in the future, they are threatening it, then they deserve to be expelled. So you get what I'm saying? They have reached a point to where they're like, no, you are threatening us now, so you gotta go, white kid.
No, CJ, you just killed it, bro. You just said something it makes sense, but I didn't even think about it like that. Holy shit, that's such a great point. Because what they're doing right now, because their kids, they already lectured their kids. Their kids gonna be cool. What they're doing right now, we know who watches the corporate media, who watches Morning Joe. They know only the suburban people are, the people in their class. So that's them literally broadcasting a threat to them to their children. CJ, I didn't even think about it like that until now. This segment is all about Morning Joe threatening their own viewership, saying if you guys don't get your kids in line, we're going to ruin their future. That's a glorious way to put it. So let's continue, because that literally will actually, let me cover Mika's rant because there's so much there. So to start off here, she doubles down on the January 6th claim that that the ADL guy said. So remember the ADL said, "Oh, these people remind me of January 6th." Yeah. And then she immediately affirms that, yeah, they do remind me of January 6th. And then she says she mentioned like, oh, you have all these conflicts around the world. You have all these people dying in all these conflicts. Why aren't they protesting this? And this is a line I hear from the corporate media a lot. They say, why aren't you guys protesting what happened in Sudan? Look at all of what happened in all these other countries. Why aren't you guys protesting this? Why aren't you guys protesting that? More children died in Gaza in the first 5 months of the conflict, because I don't have new data. And I got this data point 5 months in. So, it's way worse now. So as of 5 months in the war, more children died in this conflict than all battlefields of all wars combined over the last 4 years. Meanwhile, Mika and a bunch of white liberals are like, why you guys care about this one? Why you care about this one? Maybe because you niggas are setting Michael Jordan level war records. Like, you guys are setting records that are going to be in the Warmonger Hall of Fame forever. And then why you care about this so much? And then Mika then goes on a rant that affirms what you said earlier, where she literally physically don't understand the concept of class traders. Remember the part in the rant, because I had to write all this down because I didn't want to stop it, where she like, why would they do this? I don't understand. You had the bright future. Why would you throw it all away? Why would you throw it all away? That's why they're based, Mika. Why do you think we love them, Mika? Why do we think we demand class traders, Mika? Guys, they are extremely brave, and I have the utmost respect for these people because they're giving away their position within their class. They're breaking this class antagonism that divides workers in the ruling class, and that is not an easy thing to do, to the point where their actions are melting the brains of the ruling class. What else I have written down here? And oh yeah, one last thing. She said, well, why don't these kids set up a debate stand? Why don't you got the kids, they want to protest, they don't want to debate genocide. You guys see how they want you to do stuff that doesn't fucking mean anything? I can debate someone right now on YouTube about Zionism. Is that going to stop the funding of Israel? Debating as a way to solve genocide. Once the genocide happened, nigga, we're beyond debating. What do you think we were debating about Zionism before this? We were debating about Zionism in Israel-Palestine to prevent the genocide. Once the genocide happened, it's game time, motherfucker. Civility politics is dead. So I'm going to play one more clip because we're not going to get to the whole video. I'm going to play one more clip. And CJ, feel free if you want to cover anything after this, feel free. Because anything I don't cover, I will cover at Nick and I. So if you have a segment, feel free to play before I get out here, because I really do have to wrap up around 2 hours today. So I'm gonna play. This will be the last clip that we can respond to. One more clip, and then we move on. CJ, feel free to share anything you want to share. So let's move on.
The worst order for again, white woke kids that have no idea what they're talking about here, no idea other than what they've seen on TikTok. Again, there's a huge gulf in my mind between children of Palestinian families who have been a part of this tragedy and this suffering over the decades. And so I am not one to be able to sit in judgment of them, but I can sit in judgment of school administrators. What do you do? What do you do in a situation like this?
So I'm going to end it here for a very specific reason. I'm glad I got a chance to end it here, because now you guys see why I was building this up. I'll pass it right to you, CJ. I just had one more receipt. Because everything that happened last night, the escalation of the police state, why do you guys think that happened? I tell you guys, I'm going to tell this story in a very particular way. I'll show you guys some receipts for yesterday as well. I want you guys to know that everything that happened last night that has everyone shook, even people, progressives that are to our right, my friends, we're seeing magical things happen among people that we used to roast, like, Democrat operatives who are like, I don't know, bro. I'm done. I think RBN was, they would never say it like that, but I think RBN was right, man. They would never say it. Man, fuck this shit, man. Even they are starting to realize this. But it's very important for us to realize that this was cooked and established by the corporate media and the Biden administration and their satellites. Because when you have Morning Joe said he blames the administrator, remember, this clip was before Columbia called the police and before we got the footage here. So remember what I kept telling you guys on Nick at Night when I was doing the propaganda reports? I kept asking you guys the question, what are they implying that the administrator should do? Now we see what Joe Scarborough wanted the police to do. So the police crackdown we saw last night is what we saw Morning Joe calling for. And now what I'm going to show you here, and now I really do pass to you. I apologize. I forgot I had this last clip. So after this, I'll pass to you guys. I know you got a lot of stuff to share on this as well. Because make no mistake about it, this was the Biden administration putting a target on the heads of these students. Because remember, Congress, they passed this bill saying condemning anti-Semitism, putting a mark on people who, quote unquote, are anti-Semites because they criticize the state of Israel. Here's Biden and their administration being asked about the protests and essentially reaffirming the fact that these protests are anti-Semitic, which justifies in their mind the police crackdown. So when you see these footage of the police state in the modern fascism that we live in right now, that's why we had to call it Biden's fascism. So let me play the video and you see what I'm talking about.
What is the administration's response specifically to the use of police force in some of these college campus protests? We saw this at Indiana University, Ohio State, and UT Austin.
Yeah, so again, I'm going to be really repetitive here. Americans have the right to peacefully protest within the law. That is really important here. Anti-Semitism is dangerous.
You see how they immediately about to tie. I'll let it finish, but you see how they immediately about to tie. She's like, oh, we all believe in peaceful protests, but if you protest Israel, they inherently make you anti-Semitic.
No, we've seen the videos that have pretty much gone viral out there, and I can't speak to that. We may have more to say about those videos once we look into that. We'd have to look into them. Just don't have anything to share beyond that. But it is important. It is important for Americans to have the right to peacefully protest. We understand this is within the law, and we understand this is a difficult time, and we're going to call out any type of hateful rhetoric.
And so does the administration think the police force, the police presence we've seen so far is acceptable?
As far as police presence, that's up to the colleges and the universities. That's for them to decide. And we have to be able to allow Americans within law. That is important. I can't comment on every case. I can't comment on everything that we're seeing out there. What I can speak to is more broadly and what we want to see and what we've called out.
And then you had the police that then proceeded to beat the shit and brutally arrest hundreds of students because the Biden administration set the guideline that they're anti-Semitic. So now, CJ, facing after last night, you have all these liberals that are being radicalized in real time. Guess what the Biden administration is doing? They are canceling their press briefing after what happened last night. Last night was so crazy. They're like, bro, we can't face the heat. After this, bro, we need a day. We need a few days to come out. We just said if we had ready to protest, and then we send the police out there and fuck them up, nigga. We can't. Nigga, I ain't about to come out there and answer these damn questions. Nigga, we in an awkward position. Nigga, we just completely contradicted what we just said earlier. Anyway, CJ, I'll pass to you because I'll eventually show you guys these terrorists, these Zionist terrorists, because as they pretend that the Palestinian protests are, we have all this footage of Zionist terrorists attacking Palestinian protesters. There's all these videos. Actually, I probably should go through Hotspot's feed later because they posted so much stuff. My friends at Hotspot. Zionist terror agents launched fireworks at tents of protesters at Columbia last night. So they're not talking about this on Morning Joe. And then you have this. The absolute last thing I have here, a group of 200 armed Jews attack and beat up American students.
That's the UCLA. Is that the UCLA one? Well, something happened in UCLA too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So this is the Mossad.
If you're on the right side, why are you? If you're on the, is this the acts of people who are on the right side? If you are on the right, why would you have to do this? Doesn't make any sense.
Meanwhile, you have Jewish Karen white women standing in front of a pro-Palestinian or anti-genocide protest, I should say, and no retaliation, nothing. Meanwhile, you have these fascist Jewish people, and you guys see I'm being careful about showing stuff on YouTube because they look for any reason. If I show that clip, they're like, "Oh, you glorifying violence." So that's why I've been trying to avoid that stuff because I know you guys seeing them. These pictures are mobs of Zionists and Jewish men attacking pro-Palestinian protesters. Actually, I want to pass to you because I've seen this. I got so much stuff to show. I'll just pass to you because there's another video I've seen of this guy who was bleeding because he was attacked by Zionists. Like and there's gonna be a lot more that I'm gonna share with you guys over the course of Nick and Night. I don't want to take the whole show. I already went pretty long.
You doing Nick and Night tonight?
Not tonight. Tonight I'm gonna show you guys
tomorrow.
Tonight I'm gonna show you guys the Jill Stein panel.
The Jill Stein. Okay, so you're talking about tomorrow for Nick and Night. All right, I just have receipts to add to the same story. I don't have any other separate segments. Like I said, I wanted you to lead it because I knew you just knew more details about the story because of my move, which I'm still doing. But anyway, let's listen to Caitlin Johnstone chime in on this. And this is just a quick listen, 3 minutes.
I love Caitlin Johnstone.
Yeah, it's a pretty brilliant sort of takedown, and I'm going to tell you what it's called. It says, remember, all of this fascism would feel more fashion-y under Trump. This is good. So it's only 3 minutes. Let's listen.
Remember, all this fascism would feel way more fascism-y under Trump. Okay, yes. Police are currently in the process of violently stomping out political dissent on university campuses across America following multiple statements from President Biden attacking the protesters as anti-Semitic for opposing the genocide he's been enthusiastically facilitating in Gaza. And okay, fine. Bands of right-wing thugs are currently going around terrorizing students who don't align with the U.S. government's support for the state of Israel. But before any of my fellow liberals get any wild ideas about ceasing their support for Biden during an election year just because of a little tyranny and genocide.
Nick, when she said that, I thought of you because you always say just a little genocide here on the side.
Dude, Caitlin is so fucking funny, bro. Yeah, bro, Caitlin is so fucking funny, man.
Yeah, but she's pointing out the same point as you were pointing out earlier, which is don't let a little bit of genocide get in the way of you voting for Joe Biden. That's essentially what they're going to be doing to Bernie Sanders and industrial complex.
You're going to let little tyranny scare you?
Ceasing their support for Biden during an election year just because of a little tyranny and genocide. I think it's important to remind everyone that all this fascism would feel way more fascisty if Trump was president. Think about it. If Trump was presiding over jackbooted authoritarian suppression while mobs of marauding fascists attack dissident youths with impunity, wouldn't that just feel way worse? Wouldn't it feel way more scary and upsetting in your feely bits?
Do you think your feely bits? I actually in the boomer, and you can keep it like, or you can put it like that. But in the boomer, I can say for my mom, it would seem more scary. My mom is watching CNN and NBC, and now if it was Trump, she'll be calling me, James, you see that? Watching TV. Trump is taking down the protesters. It would absolutely seem worse, and that is something we can chalk up to propaganda in the way that Americans have been propagandized. But yeah, let's get back to the video and finish this up.
When cops are cracking skulls at Columbia University to punish young people for protesting their government's actions, wouldn't the cracking sound way worse if the president was being all crude and impolite about it? After all, if Trump was allowing these things to happen in the United States, it would be because he is the second coming of Adolf Hitler. But when Biden does it, it's because he's walking a fine line of nuance and diplomacy and something political pragmatism.
Isn't that what they always say? They always lean on that. This is nuance. This is very nuanced. This is very, what was another word they kept saying in that segment? You have to learn both sides. You have to see. No, they said it's complicated. That's the other word they use. It's complicated. Sons of bitches. But all right, let's get back to it, Nick. We only got a little bit left, and then I got one more.
This video is great. This is a perfect video to interject into the segment.
Go ahead.
This is a perfect video to interject into that segment. So let's continue.
Yeah, it kind of just sums up the idea if you're on the opposite side, like if you're on the side of the police, if you're on the side of the university administrators, like this is really a message for you and the Democrats and the Social Democrats.
Political pragmatism. Whatever. My point is, we don't have to think about it too hard or feel too bad about it. And if there's one thing we've learned over the last 7 months, it's that.
1 second. I feel like it was in the middle of a thought. Let me just rewind it just a little bit so we can get the full thought there.
Coming of Adolf Hitler. But when Biden does it, it's because he's walking a fine line of nuance and diplomacy and something political pragmatism. Whatever. My point is, we don't have to think about it too hard or feel too bad about it. And if there's one thing we've learned over the last 7 months, it's that the only thing that matters is you and your feelings, and the way your feelings are feeling inside. Are campus protests making you feel unsafe and threatened? Then that's all that matters. We needn't get into the details of whether those feelings are based on any factual circumstances. Does someone saying from the river to the sea make your feelings more uncomfortable than U.S. war machinery being used to massacre children? Then we'll focus on that to the exclusion of all else.
Just think about that point she makes. Like, you're mad about from the river to the sea, but your anger is very tapered when we're talking about 35,000, roughly 35,000 officially the numbers are of dead, the death toll. It's that, and you speak to this all the time. Or you spoke to this before a few weeks ago, how they're mad about somebody saying death to America, but when it comes to actual dead people, then they somehow swallow their voice. And it's amazing that the Americans, in particular, the subculture of white America, has this ability to do that. It is just amazing to me.
Yeah. This video is glorious, and this is why I learned. And if you follow my work for a long time, I learned to interject comedy in my shows. Like CJ, you probably know back when I first started, I used to be super rigid and stiff. Like, you guys see my old videos, and I noticed this when we did the RBN anniversary. I didn't realize how much I changed. One of the things that happened is, I realized that how important humor is. You can be there spitting logic all you want. Yo, oh my God, there was a 1948 Nakba, Palestinians killed. No matter what you say, you need to interject some sort of soul and humor. That's how you reach people. Like this political humor that Caitlin Johnstone is using. And I learned that as a commentator yourself. You got to bring something to it to get people attentive. And when you hear this segment by Caitlin Johnstone that is so based, like, this is what we thought Jon Stewart was. Because I follow Caitlin Johnstone. I don't see her miss. CJ, have you ever seen an unfunny Caitlin Johnstone video? Caitlin Johnstone, I want to say this. Caitlin Johnstone is what we thought Jon Stewart was. All you got to do is just imagine someone with extreme comedy chops reading this. Like, imagine Jon Stewart reading this. You have the greatest daily show that was ever made. Like, imagine someone who's good at delivering lines, reading Caitlin Johnstone stuff in front of a live audience. Bro, that would shatter the ratings record if you had a really good comedian that can handle delivering those lines. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's continue the video. My point is, this is just a fantastic video, and probably one of the most effective ways of spreading this anti-genocide awareness, to be honest. Like, what's more effective than this? Let's continue.
Because humor is used to point out how ridiculous the ruling class point of view is. And that's what I like what she does. It's so ridiculous. Like when she says, don't let a little genocide stop you from supporting Joe Biden. Like, that's a ridiculous point to have. So, but let's continue.
Does someone saying from the river to the sea make your feelings more uncomfortable than U.S. war machinery being used to massacre children? Then we'll focus on that to the exclusion of all else. If Trump was letting these horrible things happen, we'd feel outraged and upset. We might even feel obliged to get up and go protest the things he is doing, which, as we all know, can often cause us to miss brunch. But because a trusted Democrat is in office, we can just relax and think pleasant thoughts and drink bottles of wine and NyQuil in the bathtub. You don't have to like what's happening to your country. You don't even have to pay attention to it. All you have to do is make sure you keep telling everyone to shut up and stop criticizing the president, and to tick that little box next to Biden's name in November. Because it's just a tough fact that in order to defeat Orange Mussolini, we're going to have to get comfortable with fascism.
That is crazy. In order to stop Trump, we have to get comfortable with fascism. That is a fucking great line. And that is absolutely a true line to get to. We can get to super. Get out of here. I don't have any.
Yeah, actually, that's quiet. I was saying that's a fair way to end it.
Let me see. Yeah, I'm not gonna play this other video because it has more of a. Like, I gotta give more of a preface, and I really do gotta get out of here because my kids still go to their old schools for another month, and I have a longer drive to pick up my daughter, so I gotta get out of here. But I do want to cover this first super chat because I did find out the person was kind of not a good faith actor, and I looked through some of the other comments and found out she was not a good faith actor. But I do want to address it just to address it because I don't like people to think that we're avoid super chats because we don't. Huge fan of RBN. CJ literally called her an out-of-touch PMC who has no idea what working people are talking about. And this is a true statement, but what this person's sister citizen, which I don't believe is a regular listener of RBN, that's just what she's saying in order to be considered legitimate. You get what I'm saying? But this is the same critique. I don't get why you're bringing it up because it's a critique. I still have the critique. When you're hiring a person like Peter Dow, that is showing that you're out of touch with the working class. A critique about Peter Dow is not a critique about her position on climate change, about her position on policing, her position on Israel. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I don't understand what Sister Citizen is doing. I didn't understand that at the point. I was trying to give her.
Yeah. And we covered this earlier before.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why?
Yeah, we covered this earlier before. A lot of people think that when we criticize people, we canceling them. So
it's just not. And we have 5 members. This is my criticism. Savvy has a different one. JB has a different one. It's so people can't wrap their minds around.
I'm begging people to understand that.
People have different views and we can criticize. I have a very strong critique of Jill Stein on this particular issue, and it stands. It's not any different. I'm not going to lean up off of that. That's my critique. But if you're asking me, would I tell some people to vote for her over Joe Biden? Absolutely. Like, it's so ridiculous. So let's move on. It's not a sticking point. So I wanted to make sure we get that in. But let's go move on to the next.
Do you guys know the name of our YouTube channel is Revolutionary Blackout Network? Like, do people hit up Sean Hannity about shit that Laura Ingraham says?
Right.
I am begging people to acknowledge that we are a network, we are hosts, and we have different opinions. We are ideologically aligned. And you guys even I'll see some comments like, hey, Nick, do you know Savvy covered this differently? I'll be like, okay, good for her. Do you know JB said this about, I'm like, okay. The point of this whole project was that we are a network who engage in mutual aid as well. So CJ, as a host, will present things in his own way. And then I have the way I present things. And then there are ways that I will move, the way that JB will move, the way that CJ will move. Like, and the amount of people who don't understand that is baffling to me. You know what I mean? There are still people to this day who's hitting me up about your criticism of Eddie Liger. Your criticism of Eddie Liger, for example. We all have our different takes, but I'm just begging people to acknowledge that one day. But anyway, thanks for $5 based on maternal rage. Do we all recognize they never have this energy or organization and active shitter? I don't know what you're saying there. Do we all recognize they never have this energy or organization? Oh yeah, in an active shooter. Okay, I see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying now. I didn't know you in an active shooter. Yeah, absolutely. That's a point that everyone was making. The Uvalde police officers was afraid to approach the shooter. Meanwhile, those same police officers had their chest out and they was bold as hell when it comes to working for the Israelis. Absolutely, another great point. It's absurd that people think police serves them. Sorry, thank you, Kat Terrell, for $20. We got a lot more content for you today. Sorry, this is the last super chat that I saw. I think for $10, Almir, I would not vote for Genocide Joe, even if Adolf Hitler was his opponent. I think I agree with that because Joe Biden is one of the most evil, like, administrations in modern history. And when I say modern history, I'm like cutting that shit off right before Adolf Hitler. So let's make it simple because this guy literally funded a genocide. He funded the starvation of Palestinian children and used that based on the dossier that was funded and supported by torture. Like, and I can list, like, remember that list I did about all the reasons why you should vote against Joe Biden? That list I did was before October 7th.
Wow.
Like, Before October 7th, before the genocide, I had this long list. I had this long thread. I had to separate it into 4 tweets because it was so long about all the evil shit that Biden did. That was before October 7th. I had to do a whole nother segment to justify why I agree with this statement. But you guys follow RBN and you guys know why. There is no way. I don't give a fuck who's on that ballot. There is no way I will ever fill that box in. Because you know how you got to fill the whole box in, at least in Missouri. They're like, make sure you fill the whole box in. So when you fill that whole box in, then you got a lot of time to think. Imagine you filling that box in with Joe Biden, slowly penciling that shit in. Nigga, once I get started, there's no way I could do that. I don't give a fuck who's on that damn ballot at all. Anyway, I think that last super chat.
Yeah, you just don't support either one.
Yeah. Tonight I will be showing the speech I did with, well, not even a speech, it was a panel that I did with Joe Stein last night. Let me just put this up shortly just to hype this up because I guess it's gonna be a Nick at Night special. Once again, I've had a great time here, met a lot of my comrades. I finally found a video of me and Joe Stein from last night at KU. Got to meet a lot of our great allies. And like I said earlier in the stream, I really do believe I'm at my best in this scenario. Well, I don't have people that watch me for the first time, you know what I mean? Live action, I can see people's reactions to what I'm saying. I felt really great after this. I feel like it went really well. So I'm very excited for you guys to see it. I feel like I hit a lot of good points. And honestly, I maybe need to because when it sounds weird to say, but I'm more nervous doing live streams than I am in front of people. When I'm in front of people, I see the humanity in the crowd. I see who I'm talking to. I get more relaxed. Live streams, I'm super jittery. So anyway, you got to see what I'm talking about later tonight. So I was very happy with how this turned out. So that will I have tonight for Nick at Night. That's the only thing I'm gonna plug. And then I'm planning Nick at Night for Thursday. Q Anthony Ali had to reschedule last week. So I'm aiming for this Thursday with him, but we see because we had to reschedule that. But anyway, I'm planning another show, Nick and I here later this week as well. So that's all I have. CJ, anything else you want to promote?
Yeah, I'm just gonna shout out the fundraiser. If you want to take off, you can take. I'm gonna shout out the fundraiser for Aaron, and then that's pretty much it. So let me just shout this out for Aaron again. We're doing this fundraiser for her. If you did not hear, her husband recently passed away from a heart attack. So he suddenly passed away. Oops, let me put it in the screen. Oh, there it goes. He suddenly passed away, so we're raising funds for her. The goal is $5,000. We just cleared 1,100. So the last time I streamed, which a couple of days ago, we added another 300 to that total. So thank you for those that just recently donated in the last couple of days, last 48 hours. If you're able to donate, please do. You see the GoFundMe there, but Erin, who's our editor, so all of the graphics you see, all the clips, she's the one who does all that work. The end of the year, last year, her husband passed away suddenly and from a heart attack, and so she was off from RBN for a while. And she came back in January, I think, late January or February or so. And, just give her a little time to settle in before we did this fundraiser. But we've been planning this fundraiser for a while. So if you're able to donate, please do. Check out our website. You can also hit the like button. Make sure we get to 800 likes is always the goal. And if you're able to donate here, please do. Don't forget to check out Nick's video tonight when he uploads it with the panel. And then tomorrow we have Nick at Night. So that's basically the scheduling for today and tomorrow. Oh, actually, JB and Sabby and JB show tomorrow too. So you got 2 live shows tomorrow. You got Nick uploading the debate tonight. And then Friday, we're typically off. And then Saturday, we're back on the ball. So make sure you're on our Substack. Make sure you are know when we go live. And I'm going to get out of here. No outro video today. But here is our Patreon. We will update this, so be patient when we will update this. We've gotten a few new Patreon subscribers or members, and we just have not updated this list, but we will get to the updated list soon. Thank you for watching.